Today on the Marvel Cinematic Universe podcast, we are discussing WandaVision feedback, what you've said, what everybody else has said, and then what comes up into our heads, because so much comes up into our heads. It's going to take a while, but we're here through episode 5.
Welcome to the Marvel Cinematic Universe podcast. My name is Matthew Carroll.
And I'm Jeff Randall.
And in the ethereal producer booth, we have Ashley Kaufman. How you doing, Ashley?
Hey, guys. Great. How are you?
Oh, man. I am so flippin' tired, guys. So tired.
Why are you so tired?
Well, okay, started my day. I got up I couldn't go to sleep last night until 3 a.m. for some reason. I laid in bed.
You were super excited about the new trailer. I understand.
Yeah, exactly. The Falcon Winter Soldier trailer just set me on edge. No, I was up till 3 a.m. I just could not fall asleep. I laid in bed for 4 hours, just like staring at my pillow. Finally went to sleep. Woke up at 6:30 in the morning to go see my mom for her therapy in Montgomery. So I had to drive 3 hours today. Drove to Montgomery and back. Helped my mom with her therapy session, then drove back here, did a singing telegram, tried to round up the feedback for WandaVision, which brings us to now, where I spent like 3.5 hours rounding up feedback for WandaVision, just trying to sort it, because there's so much, and I love it. I am absolutely in love with the fact that there's so much, but I didn't even get to everything. Like, I literally didn't even make it to reading all the emails because there were so many. And I spent 3.5 hours doing that. I tried to respond to as many as I could, just because we're not going to be able to get to everything on the show. But that being said, we should get to those so we get to as many as we can, right?
I mean, yeah, probably.
Yeah. Oh, I did want to mention up top, you guys are the effing best, because WandaVision's been so popular as a show, and we're getting a lot more downloads, people searching for us and stuff. We have hit the charts higher than we've ever hit before. This is insane to us. Absolutely insane. We are currently number 4 in after shows.
That's crazy.
That is insane. There are a lot of, like, I look at who else is up there. It's all celebrities, and it's all like official podcasts for things. And we are just a fan cast that loves this stuff. And because you guys are so freaking awesome, and over the last 7 years, you guys have done so many reviews. It's not because we're the biggest show. We don't get the most downloads, but like, because of you guys have been so kind with the reviews, we are number 4
in the after show category.
Yeah, it's absolutely blowing our minds. So, that being said, we know we got a lot of new listeners for WandaVision. If you like the show, please go give us a 5-star review on iTunes. And who knows? We're number 4. Can we edge out those other 3? I think we can do it, guys.
Do it.
I think we could do it.
iTunes sent me a cease and desist. They are like, you're not allowed to leave another review on here because you've already left as many as you I was like, shut up. You don't tell me what to do.
Did it really? Did it tell you stop?
No.
Oh, okay. I was like, I didn't think there was a limit.
No, sometimes when I put them on there, they don't show up. I'm like, but I just did one yesterday. Why not?
Oh, yeah. they delete your old one when you put a new one up. I think you can only have one review up, but I do think, I don't know. Anyway, if you've never reviewed us, if you're new to the show, you like the show, please go review it on iTunes.
We're in the list with my favorite podcast. You must remember this about old Hollywood. Like, I want to send that to Clarissa and be like, I am after you. I'm coming.
Ashley, I have something to say. You just said you have a different favorite podcast.
Listen, no. It's not Marvel based. I don't know. We'll see. We better step it up. I'm not into number 4s. I like number 1s.
Ouch. All right. Well, that all being said, guys, we are gonna talk about WandaVision now. We got so much feedback, and as we do on Mondays, we like to do these feedback episodes. So let's just jump right in. What we got, Jeff?
All right, we have Jimmy T, one of our patrons, says, I have no idea if I'm sending this in the right way, but hopefully you get it. I am living for WandaVision in the chat afterwards at the moment, and I had to become a patron, and I write to you, and with my overriding theory from this episode, I think Hayward is definitely the big bad and quite possibly Mephisto. He purposely antagonized Wanda by shooting at her and brought her outside to ensure everyone is certain she is the villain. But he was not frightened of dying when she turned the guns on him. He was worried about being revealed. Having made his point, he sends Pietro from another universe as a gift that will keep her distracted long enough for the twins to grow up. Wanda was clear she hadn't done it and genuinely seemed shocked. She also didn't recognize him immediately. I also think they're finding a lot of reasons to mention or show the word photon around Rambo. She apparently needs photons for her re-entry to the Hex. She obviously is going to become Photon. Also, what's her beef with Captain Marvel? Just annoyed at her for not saving her mom? Or is there a fight coming in Captain Marvel 2? Sorry, I've rambled a bit. Hope this is of any interest. P.S. Did you notice we still went through Vision's eye at the end of the first bit of credits, but it was a very different sort of hollowed out face on Vision, not the hole in the head Vision of last week.
Interesting. I did notice the eye. Now that someone pointed that out, it's always one of the first things they do in the credits is go through the eye of Vision. Yep. So everyone's thinking Hayward's the bad guy or a bad guy. I don't personally subscribe that he's the big bad. I think he's just a dick. What do you think?
Yeah, he's the middle bad.
I think that he's just a corporate asshole.
He's a medium bad at best.
He's Hydra shield using Vision to make weapons, and I think that Wanda caught on to it, which is why she knew who he was. I would assume that she went there to maybe see Vision's body, and he's like, well, you can't see it, it's in parts, but we don't want to tell her that, and they wouldn't let her know what was going on, but obviously they're not going to show her him in pieces, so she had to circle back and come through the back door and take him, because she seemed real you're not going to take this from me again, and she knew who he was, and he doesn't seem, I don't know, he doesn't seem like he might be Mephisto level to me yet.
Right. And that actor, who's going to play Mephisto? Is it going to be this guy? I don't know this guy from anything, but it seems like that's a pretty big role. I don't know. It could be a double cross. So I think from all external things right now, it seems like it's just this guy's a dick. That seems like all it is. And he's doing the same sort of stuff that S.H.I.E.L.D. was doing in Avengers 1, but maybe that's what they're counting on is him just looking like a dick, and then it's actually oh, we're smarter than to think he's the big bad. He's a medium bad, and then he is the big bad, and that would be a way of tricking guys like me who think they're too smart for this stuff.
Yeah. Because then they would have gotten me too. Because I'm no way. They want us to think that it's him. We're only on episode 5.
Exactly, and then it ends up being him, right?
They're getting us to juke ourselves, basically. They don't even have to do it for us. They let us juke ourselves.
That sort of meta storytelling I love, where they they play with the idea of the trope that's in the culture right now. So in the culture, it's common for you to think that the big bad is going to be that guy, and then it's not. So when it just makes it, they make that dick the big bad. You're oh, I was not expecting that.
You kind of feel let down because it's not some huge reveal, but then you're also kind of no, yeah, it makes sense because he's a dick.
And it was not what I was expecting. That's exactly it. Have you guys seen the most recent Nightmare on Elm Street?
No.
Yes.
Okay, so spoiler alert for Nightmare on Elm Street.
The bad one, right? The remake.
I loved it. And I'll tell you why right now. They do this thing that they do with all the recent horror movies. So spoiler alert. They do this thing where they make you think they're going to make you identify with Freddy. Like the Michael Myers movies of recent, they made you identify with Michael Myers. They made him look like this tortured soul who'd whatever. So they made it appear that they were going to do that. So they spent half the movie with these people looking into the case of Freddy and finding out he wasn't such a bad guy. They just tortured and burned him to death. And then you find out they tortured and burned him to death because he was a horrible child molester and he was killing and murdering and molesting children and all this stuff. And it's just this turn of oh, you start to sympathize with the guy who was just run out of town or whatever, chased down by villagers. It looks like they're going to make him a sympathetic character, and then no, he just fully embraces the evil at the end, and you're oh, the bad guy was just the bad guy. Oh, I like that. It felt nice. After the whole 2000s where every bad guy sort of the anti-hero good guy, it was they totally misdirected you. I loved that movie. I thought it was great, and no one else liked it. That's what I did.
Did you ever see the original Nightmare on Elm Street?
Yes, but it's been many, many years. Is it similar?
Okay. I mean, yeah, Freddy can't kind of get away from the kid killing. There's no getting away from that.
Agreed in the original canon, but the new one made it seem like they weren't going to go that route. Made it seem like it was just going to be the story about him.
Yeah, but then you wouldn't have Freddy because the parents that killed him.
That's what I loved about that movie. Anyway, moving on.
Sorry.
So to kind of bring it back to Jimmy T.
Hey, Jimmy T. Sorry, we went to Freddie K.
Freddie K. He said that Hayward, he said he definitely thinks he's the big bad and quite possibly Mephisto, saying that he purposely antagonized Wanda by shooting at her and brought her outside to ensure everyone is certain that she's the villain. I don't know that that's necessarily the case. Like he seemed like genuinely like terrified when all the guns turned on him in that like almost Magneto moment, you know? Like, whoa, stand down. And like all the lights are on him, all the laser lights are on him. Like, oh, it was so good. It was so intimidating what she was able to do there. And because I am expecting some extra dimensional, crazy thing, I'm like, well, what if that wasn't Wanda? What if that was Mephisto coming out as Wanda to like?
I've been thinking about that when you said it to me.
Take everybody that route.
I have a rebuttal. Every time Wanda's about to mess someone up, she adorably cocks her head to the side, kind of like I do.
Right.
And she definitely I feel like, and that's pre all this stuff. It's in all the other movies.
Yeah, she did that on camera at the drone, but we don't see her take out the drone. It just goes the feed cuts, and then there's a breach, and she comes out and is like, "You lose something, asshole? Here's this."
Something that someone was saying in the Stranded Panda chat on Facebook was that it does seem pretty suspect that he sent an 80s drone to fire at Wanda while her children are 10. And it's a Stark drone that missile probably says Stark on it too. Like that is the exact trauma.
They weren't 10 yet, were they? Yeah, were they? The dog. Yeah.
I believe they were. And that's the age of Pietro and Wanda when a Stark missile didn't blow up on her. Like that is directly facing her with her original trauma while her twin children are there, or at least they're around. That seems pretty.
While her fake twin children are there.
Mm-hmm. That's why I feel if he was Mephisto, he wouldn't be trying to stop what's happening. Because obviously, if he would have shot her with a missile, that would have stopped everything that's happening inside this little city.
Or that was meant to enrage her or whatever. Like it's meant to drive her further into the simulation. Like it's meant to traumatize her further or bring out her trauma. You know what I mean?
Mm.
Yeah.
A lot of people are like, why did he fire that missile? That missile's not going to stop Wanda. It's like, yeah, maybe not. But
did he actually fire it? I thought he said that he was like, oh, I didn't know.
Well, he said the missile was just a precaution.
Yeah.
But he says to fire.
Oh, yeah, because he's a dick.
He does say to fire.
And it never did fire? Is that the case? Mm-hmm. Or did she stop it? I forget what happened.
I think she stopped it before it fired.
Right.
I think she stopped it and no control to it had gotten, all control to it had been lost.
Right.
Because what she threw at them was just the drone. And it had, that cutesy little Stark Industries little, logo on the back, or right by the fin of it. And there's thought of it does say, it says Stark Industries, the kids are 10. What if it didn't say Stark Industries when Monica went and got it? What if it was just a regular whatever else drone? And it was crafted, it was changed to say Stark Industries as it entered the bubble, because everything is for her. Everything is driving her down a path. So what if it got rebranded on the way in?
That's interesting, but the whole idea is that it was the reason they used that drone is would not need to be rebranded. But I hear what you're saying. I pick it up what you're putting down.
I mean, there's so many there's so many different paths to go down on anything in this show, because it's
so endless.
We're expecting so many different things, and they're showing us all kinds of other things, but also still kind of hinting at these things that we're expecting. So we're like, I think I'm right. It's multiverse.
Totally.
By the way, I did want to so Jimmy T mentioned the fact that Monica might be Photon. That we got that a lot. There's really no information, and I don't think I didn't include many of those feedbacks because we have so many that said it. Like, yes, Monica seems to have some sort of powers. The other thing I didn't include, unless it had something interesting in it, was any Hex feedback, because we got so much Hex feedback. Everyone is saying that, like, basically hexes prove that it's this character or this character or that character. The problem is, hexes. Apparently, Marvel uses hexes a lot, is what I'm getting at.
Yeah.
We just watched Captain Marvel the other day. They're all over. It's when people enter or go out of a universe. It's an Endgame.
Exactly. The portals that they go through in Guardians of the Galaxy are hexes.
Ant-Man and the Wasp had hexes all over the place.
Ant-Man and the Wasp, all the tech is covered in hexes, which that's the thing. Those hexes could be something to do with the multiverse because they're on the the quantum tunnel has hexes all over it. The Skrull ships have hexes all over it. The Doctor Strange books are enclosed in hex-shaped cages. It is all over the MCU. There are hexagons. So
Marvel's playing the long con on us.
They knew. They're like, okay, so in 10, 11, 12 years, we're going to do something with Scarlet Witch, and we want to say hex, but she's not actually allowed to be a witch because fuck you, Fox. So we're going to make it work. It's a long game.
Crazy.
Yeah, so they have got us twisting, and I mean, I'm serious. We got 30 emails that were just like, I was watching this movie this week, because the people that listen to our show watch these movies all the time, and so many of them are noticing, I was watching this movie this week, and there are hexes everywhere, because we're all looking for hexes now. And I'm like, I was watching BVS this week, and it turns out the Kryptonian ship is covered in hexes. DC crossover confirmed.
Multiverse. Oh man, when I was watching it for the 4th time this weekend, it's only Monday, Matt.
Oh man,
it's short. Don't feel bad.
When I was watching it for the 4th time this weekend, I spotted on the fridge in the background when the kids were there, it was 80s, late 80s, early 90s era aesthetic, and I spotted on the fridge there was a picture of a bee. Just a letter B with bees all over it. And I was just like, oh my God. And I went down a rabbit hole of the life cycle of bees and
we've been
how they go from eggs to larvae to pupa to adults and then chew their way out.
The amount of bee imagery. And that's the thing. The hexes have all these connections to other Marvel movies, but they could just be a connection to the bee thing. The only way, I do think, have we seen any hexes other than in Hayward's office? His I don't know if we've mentioned this on the show, but a lot of places are talking about it. His diplomas are arranged in a hex. Have you guys seen that?
Oh,
in Hayward's office.
I've seen a picture of it. I didn't notice it at the time because I didn't think about it. But
same.
It got brought up a few times in conversation. Who puts their diplomas on a wall like that?
Yeah.
Who does that?
Well, my question is, have there been any other hexes outside of the hex? Is it the only one we've had? That's the only hex reference I can think of that is outside of the actual hex. In this show.
Property?
In this show, yeah.
In this Marvel property? Because there have been so many others.
Yeah. I can't think of any, is what I'm saying.
To be fair, we haven't seen that many, or we haven't seen that much outside of Wanda's hex or Wanda's little bubble.
Well, we've seen 2 full episodes now where they had a lot of stuff outside the hex.
It's an episode and a half, really.
Sure. But there's a good bit of outside stuff, and that's the only character we've seen drawn into the hex theory crafting. So it could be that means something, or it could just be the hexes mean absolutely nothing and they're just screwing with us.
It's just an aesthetic. There are no coincidences in Marvel.
There absolutely are coincidences, and they are absolutely trying to troll us.
Yep. Lane says it in chat. The road around the sword facility is a hexagon. It looks like it's in the Gulf Coast, like Gulf Shores, Louisiana, something like that, when they pan over the facility in episode 4. Yeah. And I was like, I had it in my head. I was like, that's a weird shape for a road. But, I didn't think about it. But it absolutely looks like a hex around the facility.
Interesting. Okay, but that's still the director of that facility, or the acting director of that facility, is still Hayward. So like maybe that's just tying it together even more, that I think that could just be as simple as this is Sword's fault. And the hex is Sword's fault, because I believe that Wanda got driven over the edge when she found out that Vision's body was being used this way.
Yep. If you remember in episode 4, whenever Hayward saw Wanda and Vision on screen, he was like, get me transport back to HQ now. And then he disappears. And then he comes back in this episode and is like, all right, I got authorization. Okay, first off, this is the acting director. Who does he get authorization from?
The real director, maybe.
Who the hell is that? And then he says, I got authorization to reveal this highly sensitive footage, and then it looks very doctored. It looks exceptionally doctored. Like we didn't see the whole story. And from the trailers, there were parts where we saw Wanda in that facility actually floating down to where Vision was. So I think that we're going to get some flashbacks here soon of what brought her to this moment.
Yeah, I think we will get a flashback that tells the story. Like I think we've been saying this since before the show started, that there's those elements where she's like wearing her Age of Ultron costume or whatever, or her civil Winter Soldier costume when she was the Miracles. And I think we're absolutely going to get a flashback at some point where I don't know. Here's the thing. How much does Wanda know? Because she's obviously controlling this little world, and she's sending people out, and she went out there and had a conversation with Sword. So she knows a lot.
Allegedly.
Right. Yeah. She could be Tyler Durden. I don't know.
Well, it reminds me of that picture that Melissa had put in the chat that showed Wanda in pretty much what looked like the same outfit she was in at Tony Stark's funeral. And it looked like it was from a scene from the trailers.
Yes.
So like maybe after that, she wanted to go see, she's like, oh, Tony's dead. I'm going to go see Vision's body now. I'm all alone. So she goes
has that
over
conversation
there.
At the end of Endgame. She has a conversation with Clint where she talks to him about like, Nat being gone, and he's like, they both are like whatever. I forget the line.
Right.
Does anybody have it?
He knows. He knows.
They both know, or something like that. I wish they could know that we won, and then they both know. And she's talking about Vision, and it's like it's really sweet. But you can imagine at that moment her being like, well, now this is wrapped up. I need to go see what's going on with Vision. And I think I think that's the outfit she's wearing when she jumps through the Sword facility.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think so.
I think so too. Let's get to the next feedback, because
okay,
was that one?
It's been a long time on
that was one. That was one.
John Litz, another patron, says, "Hey MCU podcast team, I was recently watching the Expanding the Universe documentary short on Disney Plus and saw something incredibly peculiar. At 3 minutes 46 seconds, we're getting timestamps. I love it.
Yeah."
At 3 minutes 46 seconds, you can see two shadows on the wall behind Vision and Wanda, one of which looks to have horns and some kind of cape, which is odd because the second looks like a normal shadow. It's possible this is just a small nod to Scarlet Witch's outfit in the comics, but it just seems a bit too well placed behind Wanda, almost like Mephisto is controlling her from behind the scenes. Bum, bum, bum. Hopefully this makes the show. I just started listening and fell in love with the show so fast. Can't wait for next Friday. Blitzkrieg. P.S. When Vision says, where's Geraldine? Wanda responds and says she didn't belong in the recap, compared to an episode when Monica and Geraldine had to rush home.
Mm-hmm. So we've actually seen that line 3 times, and it's been 3 different responses from Wanda. She said she had run home in the first one, but she said it very chipper. But then from Wanda's perspective, from Vision's perspective, she's like, oh, she had to run home, honey. But then from Wanda's perspective, she was like, she had to run home. Like she was still in witch mode.
Yeah.
And then in the trailer, she said she did not belong.
I messaged Jeff. I was like, what? She didn't say that, because me and Ken have just had a 10-minute conversation about that. And he was like, no, that's definitely changed. I was like, vindication! It made me feel like I was crazy. He was like, yes, she did. I was like, are you even watching this show?
Are you even watching this show? The other thing he discusses here is this picture from the featurette, and it's some of the promo material. I'm going to drop it here on the video version of the podcast here. You guys see this? It's them sitting on the couch, and then in the background you see these shadows figures. One of them appears to have horns, and one of them appears to not. I actually don't think this is Devil. I think that is the Scarlet Witch costume from comics, and that's Vision. I think that's that. It's an old timey painting sort of thing, and it's them sitting in their 50s outfits, and in the background you see these shadows. I think it's a shadow of them, not a shadow of the villains.
It is. If you look closely at the one that is behind Vision, like the hair, like his hair that's there is smoothed out to where it's just his bald visiony head, and there's a spot in the middle of the shadow where the Mind Stone is, where it looks like it's shining.
I totally agree.
And you can see his shoulder pads where the
cape would be. Yeah,
would be.
I totally agree. I just still want to throw that in there, but yeah. I mean, who knows though? Maybe we're wrong, and maybe that is something different. But I do think that is what that is.
Yeah, and it looks like that's the consensus in chat as well, is that they wouldn't give Mephisto away like that. That's too obvious.
Yeah.
Mephisto's going to be a slow burn.
Excuse me. Slow.
As he has to be. He lives in hell.
But
it's hell, but it's not hell. I'll cover it in my video.
Yeah. Okay. So, by the way, we keep mentioning Mephisto.
I've got a script like this so far that I just still have not completed.
Yeah. Jeff's working on a little.
Who is Mephisto?
A Mephisto primer video, because we keep mentioning him. We might as well do a quick tell who Mephisto is sort of thing.
It's kind of a primer. It's kind of also a theory video. Okay. Where I'm going to run down like 4 or 5 theories involving Mephisto.
All the different Mephisto theories. Cool.
Yep. All right. So next up, Corey Small says, while I, like yourselves, am ecstatic to see Evan Peters show up as Pietro, I am in no way convinced he's her brother. It makes no sense to me. If she is grieving still about her brother's death, she wouldn't recast him. She would bring him back as his former self, like she did with Vision. While we all expected Dottie to be Mephisto, I believe Evan Peters' character is Mephisto portraying Pietro, quote unquote, to lower her guard. Agnes has been the Loki in this situation, and Evan is the Thanos of sorts, orchestrating from the shadows until the time is right. It's also no coincidence that when Agnes asks if Wanda can raise something from the dead, Pietro shows up.
These first 3 feedbacks have all been very Mephisto heavy. So let me just say, Mephisto is a comics book character who's like the Marvel Comics version of the devil of sorts. One of them. He embraces the look and the everything of being the devil, and he like is like just another trickster god that is seeking power. And a lot of things in this show are pointing to the comics version of him. Whether that's going to be what happens, who knows? I personally lean toward no. I personally lean toward that's all misdirection. And I know you guys aren't there, but that's how I feel.
Misdirection.
Yeah, I stole it. I had all my chips on Evan Peters being Mephisto until I saw him as Pietro, and then my mind started to work about how the multiverse actually works now.
Yep.
And now that he's going to be like, we have our new MCU Quicksilver, because anything that exists in the bubble exists outside the bubble. So unless something happens to him, he's over here.
We got what we wanted. We got the cherry pick.
I do. I love it. And so Zombie Prez in the chat says, who do you think will get ripped from the multiverse next? Who is most likely, but most importantly, who do you want? And I just feel like I need to take this time right now to be like, Marvel, please call Michael Fassbender right now.
Right.
Give him all the money that he wants. I know everybody wants like other versions of Magneto, and that's great. And I love all of your fan theories. I don't care. Can you call Michael Fassbender right now and ask him if he's willing to do it? Because I need Magneto so bad.
Yeah.
And then it's not exactly like how this won't be exactly her brother. He won't be exactly her father, even though in the comics it ended up that Magneto is not their father, but that's a whole different podcast.
I am very much on the Magneto idea. I love the multiverse. I love the Magneto stuff. I'm more towards the like, just this is all just going to be her using her powers to create this reality, and she's the big bad of the season, and eventually possibly brings about a collision with the multiverse, which seems like it already happened, or it's just like the biggest meta troll ever. Like, what the hell? Bringing forward a character from another universe into this one is insane. Like, that's insane storytelling if that's what they're doing.
Well, they're laying the brickwork to be able to bring Deadpool, to bring everybody over who, we want Deadpool. Everybody wants Deadpool. Now they just open the door. They're like, here you go, buddy.
Absolutely. That's what I'm saying. I think that's it. I think the idea that he's Mephisto I think that would be really weird storytelling.
Mm-hmm.
It undercuts the multiverse.
It does. So it's kind of like either he's Mephisto or this is the multiverse. I mean, I guess not. I guess this could be Mephisto somehow puppeting a version of Evan from the outside. If we say like Mephisto is controlling all the people in this town in some way or another, or Agnes is or whatever, then Evan Peters could just be another version of that. This could be the Quicksilver brought over from another universe, and now he's being controlled just like all the other people in the town are being controlled. I guess.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it could be. It could be that, because he's here and, because he's in the hex, he's within the hex, he gets the, whatever little implant of mind takeover. This is who you are now. Like, you now fit this narrative. Oh, shit. What if he's not? Like, what if he is the Quicksilver from that, from the Foxman verse, but doesn't have a sister, doesn't know who she is, Wanda is not his sister's name. He said he had a little sister in
He said
those
Lorna.
movies.
He said Lorna in that one.
Lorna, yes. So he doesn't have a Wanda sister. Mm-mm. He has a Lorna sister.
He has a Lorna Dane.
Lorna Dane, who is Polaris. Yes.
My favorite Marvel character.
He has a Lorna sister.
He has a Lorna sister.
But it's like, is his mind wiped?
Well, like, what if he is wiped in this hex to believe that he's the long lost brother, and then once he gets out, he's just like, I don't know who the fuck you are.
Or he doesn't.
Oh God.
Or he doesn't have to be mind wiped. He could just be like
it's
Norm or any of the other characters.
Yeah.
He could just be being controlled by whatever force, and maybe Vision's going to touch him, and he's going to be like, "Oh, I really want Vision to touch him," and he'd be like, "I was fighting alongside Hugh Jackman."
And your father, Magneto. And then he called Vision a popsicle, which could be super dark as well as super funny. Because what if he's seeing dead Vision? Because don't people say like a popsicle's dead people? I watch a lot of true crime.
People get cold when they die.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's weird. Why would he call Vision a popsicle though?
Popsicle.
Because he was the colors of a popsicle.
Okay.
Blue,
are those
green,
the colors of a popsicle?
Fuchsia green. I mean, fuchsia.
Red,
I've never had a fuchsia popsicle.
I've never had a fuchsia popsicle.
Like, you
I
get
don't know
a strawberry.
what y'all do down there in the South, but
We do it right.
We do fuchsia popsicles all day long.
You're welcome. I'm gonna eat his little bubblegum eyes. No.
Okay, I've never had one of those popsicles with bubblegum eyes. That always just seemed gross to me.
It is. It's weird. It's weird as shit.
All right.
Because they don't just pop off. You have to force them and pry them with a crowbar.
You could just wait till it thaws out a little bit. Patience.
No.
Patience for the gumball eyes.
I don't have that, Matt. Kyle says, "Hey guys, I just watched the episode 3 more times. I noticed 2 things very specifically. Number 1, Agnes never touched the kids. It was like a vampire asking to enter a home before entering. Agnes never touched or got too close to the kids until she was welcomed by Wanda. Number 2, when Sparky is revealed to be dead, Wanda and the kids discuss death and Wanda fixing the dead. Agnes had several close-ups of concern and genuine sadness. Does Mephisto have something over Agnes, and she's playing a role to get someone she loves back? Love you guys. Kyle. S. Berkeley, LMSW, PhD. Goodness gracious.
Wow.
That's a lot of letters after name, Kyle.
If I get in trouble with the law, can I call you?
I don't think that's what PhD is.
Oh.
I mean, it could be.
So the boss mama had her chat comment is going to tie in with this. So I'm just, instead of going over it now, I'm going to throw it in here. She goes, Agnes was acutely involved with every single time the twins aged up. They aged up after she sprayed them with the lavender. She brings the doghouse and gets them more invested in the idea of the dog. And then they have to age up to be able to keep him. And then he dies at her house at her hands, ? Just kind of throw this all in there.
Yeah. The at her hands. Someone else brought that up in the feedback. I really, I thought this Kyle's feedback was really pertinent. The fact that Agnes never touches them, but is constantly asking to touch them. Like even when she's like, "You want me to take that again?" And then she comes in and it's like, it's as if she's suggesting it. Right? You wanted me to hold the babies, right? Like it's like a very. It is exactly what Kyle's asking here or saying here is like it sounds a lot like a vampire asking to get in your door and like he needs permission. That sounds like what's going on here. I don't know though.
Well, didn't Jeff Sparky in the comics was killed by Vision's new robot wife? Same way?
I read this week that he was killed when he bit down on the scythe of when he unburied the scythe of the Grim Reaper.
I think he bit a plant that came from like.
Oh, was it the place? Was it the Wundagore
The Wundagore, yeah.
I actually read that one too. I don't know. So maybe there's two versions somewhere.
Or was it the water that was the empty? That vase, the water vase. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but I think it was the Wonder Bloom.
Okay.
Because that's like from somewhere where Agatha's from. And it is true. Like, I agree with everything that they were saying. Like, she was there. She didn't freak out. And it makes me feel like so far in the show, the town was pushing her to have children. Yep. And now the town is pushing her to resurrect somebody that's like a full thing. It just like now the kids like, oh, the town wants you to resurrect these children. Or not resurrect, sorry. The town wants you to have these children. Yeah. And then after that's done, now your children are trying to kind of push you to resurrect life in front of Agnes, who doesn't like, she's like, oh, you can do that. Who seems like she's pushing for it. But I don't know. I don't see her as malicious.
Kyle here says that he thought she looks sad and like maybe she has some sadness in her past, like maybe Mephisto's holding something over her. Again, all this stuff is predicated on the Mephisto theories. There's a lot of Mephisto feedback in here, like in a row.
That's right, everybody. Come to the dark side.
I did not mean to do that. But the thing that I think that seemed like is Agnes looked scared. Like she looks at her like, you can do that? As if like...
I think she's manipulating her.
Oh, yeah. Agnes is 100% manipulating Wanda just all over the place.
Yeah.
And being really super subtle about it.
Well, here's the thing. I think that's possible, but she didn't do it. This is the thing. Wanda didn't do it. She also didn't bring her brother back. So I think there is some sort of like stop to her powers there. And for a second, like maybe Agnes knows that how much power it takes and how dark it is to bring someone back from the dead. Just at least in a lot of fictions, that's the case. And it's like, Agnes for a second goes, wait, can you do that? Like it looked like a genuine thought of like fear does seem to cross Agnes's face. That's how I took it.
I took it as like she just seemed like acting like, can you really do that? Nudge, nudge.
Yeah. It's all real weird. It's so weird, guys.
And I'm sorry, I'm not a mother, but would anybody let somebody spray stuff over their children? Like
it was the 80s. Things were different.
I know that's why I am the way I am.
Yep.
Your mom let somebody spray something on you.
I think BVK put it in the Stranded Panda chat or it was either BVK or Nathaniel Muzzy, I'm not sure. But somebody dropped a theory related to anti-Agnes, like actual person, actual voodoo practitioner, anti-Agnes. who lived to 129 years old or some crap like that.
Mm.
And
in the real world or in Marvel Comics?
in the real world.
Okay.
In the real world.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah, so actual supposed voodoo practitioner who had a cologne bottle that she used apparently to steal people's luck.
What?
And that's similar to what the lavender was.
Interesting. Now I'm getting feelings of Cloak and Dagger right now.
Yep.
Yeah, Dr. Voodoo or whatever.
Brother Voodoo.
Brother Voodoo.
Yep.
Dude, I know it's not going to happen. It's absolutely not going to happen. But just I'm going to let myself dream for a minute. What if this was Brother Voodoo? The same Brother Voodoo from Cloak and Dagger steps in, and then suddenly the entirety of the TV verse merges with all
Is he from New Orleans?
Yeah.
And isn't Falcon Winter Soldier going to be in New Orleans?
Yeah.
Falcon and Winter Soldier looks like it's going to have some stuff in New Orleans.
Yeah.
You guys are saying it wrong.
Brother Voodoo confirmed.
Brother Voodoo is from Haiti, but his brother, Daniel Drum, who is his spirit that's always with him, was already in Doctor Strange. He was the guardian of the New York Sanctum when it got destroyed. And he's the one that got killed.
But isn't Cloak and Dagger, does that take place in New Orleans?
It does.
It does, yeah.
All right. Well, then I'm still right. No.
Yeah. I like the idea of getting Cloak and Dagger.
That's so cool. We could just branch this off in so many directions. It's kind of insane.
Yeah, it really is.
In the Axis storyline, when a lot of heroes were turned into villains and villains into heroes, Wanda was turned into a villainous persona. She was attacking Latveria, and Doctor Doom summoned Brother Voodoo to try to stop her, and Brother Voodoo used the spirit of his brother Daniel Drum to possess Wanda to stop her from attacking Latveria.
All right. And we're moving on. There's just so many comics possibilities, and we keep going real deep on them, and I'm like, there's just too many possibilities. They've done too many things in the comics. They've done every character with every other
everything.
character.
No matter what, we're going to be right. One of us.
Hey, let's we're going to take a quick break, but before we do, let's check in with the chat. You got anything from the chat, Ash, that's built up?
Yeah, I have about 3 fun ones. Let's see if I can read through them successfully. Okay. Pavanch, I'm going to go with, says, not sure if it's been discussed, but if S.W.O.R.D. was successful in creating a weapon based on their time with the Vision's body, if they turn that weapon on Wanda, would it be a huge mind F for her?
Oh, wow. Yeah, if they did the white if they did the white version of the Vision, where it doesn't have any emotions, and everything.
Again, comics reference for those of you who watch the shows and not the comics. There's a version of Vision in the comics that just turns white and has no emotions, and he's kind of a dick. Because he's still technically a hero, and he's still on the Avengers, but he's just a bit of a dick. Yeah, he just has no emotions and doesn't have any care for Wanda, and that sets up a lot of drama. So yeah, I can see that. Someone else wrote in, and we're going to get to it, so I shouldn't spoil it, but someone else wrote in the idea that the Ascension weapon enforcement and response division, right?
Observation,
response division.
Enforcement is S.H.I.E.L.D.
And they've been dealing with all these. They've been dealing with this Vision body, and what if we're doing mutants, and mutants become a thing, and she says we need more mutants or whatever. What if the thing that they send in to respond is a Sentinel? And I started thinking about what if what they've been building based on Vision's body was the
Sentinels?
MCU version of Sentinels, which could be like
Sentinel program.
Oh my God, I love it.
I love it too. And
it's so good.
It would give her a big reason to be more mutants. If they send in, say the Avengers get there to save her or whatever, and then they send in Sentinels to take down all the heroes, all the metas, and then she's more and creates mutants and they all come and converge
and then they bring over Michael Fassbender as Magneto.
Exactly. And Michael Fassbender crushes all the Sentinels. I would love
it.
That's my favorite theory so far. And
I love that so much.
We'll get to it, I'm sure.
Oh, that's so good. Okay. Ashley, next one.
Okay,
You said you had like 3.
Smalley Biggs 95 says, not sure why, but I think the missing person Jimmy Woo was sent to find is actually Ralph in Wanda's world. Do you guys think that Ralph will have a significant part in the series, or do you think Marvel's just making us overthink it?
Yes.
I still think Ralph is Mephisto.
Ralphisto.
Or is Ralph the person that Agnes lost?
Yes.
It's all of those things.
I think it could be the person that Agnes lost. It could be Mephisto. It could be the person Jimmy Woo is looking for. All of those things could be true at the same time. There's a lot of little holes in the story that I think will be filled by like all the stuff that's coming.
Tiger Eyes. Lane says, why does Wanda turn the dome red? What was that all about?
I don't know, man.
Unlimited power.
Unlimited power.
To me, it felt menacing, as if she's like toughening up security or something, or like, but also it could be her becoming more unstable, more angry. I don't know. What does red mean? What does red mean in the story?
I think you're right.
Mephisto's color of Mephisto, color of Wanda.
Yeah. Could be.
Could be Daredevil. Daredevil confirmed.
If there was already a radiation problem going on in there before she did that, what is going to happen to these people now?
Oh, yeah. Has she upped the radiation significantly?
Oh, man, that reminds me. I was having a conversation earlier this morning.
Good song.
Monica freaking Rambeau got her powers by being bombarded by extra-dimensional energy, specifically extra-dimensional energy. Mm-hmm. And we're talking about multiverse, right?
Yes.
But also, Mephisto is a multi-dimensional or an extra-dimensional demon.
Yes.
And has obviously crafted this realm, and
obviously, your theory is obviously right.
Obviously crafted this reality for Wanda, and it's being bombarded with CMBR. Like, nobody in there is alive right now. They're all dead. All of them are dead.
Or they're all mutants now.
Or they're all mutants. Either they're all dead or they're all mutants.
Yeah.
There we go.
It's the only outcome.
All right, well, we're going to take a quick break, and we'll be back with after this ad we have no control over, with lots more feedback to discuss. And we're back.
And we're back.
And we're back.
And we're back.
Let's jump right in with this. Alyssa Jane sent us some feedback.
Oh, man. Alyssa Jane says, Monica immediately changing the subject at the mention of Captain Marvel was pointed. It made me think that she feels some resentment toward Carol for not being there for her mom when she died while Monica was blipped, for not finding a way to save Maria. After all, in that moment, Wu and Darcy were talking about how insanely powerful Captain Marvel is. To the world, she's Captain Marvel, but to Monica, she's first and foremost Auntie Carol. And Auntie Carol let her mom die. Monica also seems very tuned in and empathetic to Wanda's grief. They have something in common in that they lost the person they loved most, either immediately before Vision or during Maria the Blip. Both Wanda and Monica were suddenly brought back, having had no time to process or mourn. Maybe that's part of why Wanda let Monica into Westview. She sensed her grief and felt a connection to her, that she could trust her. Kindred spirits in their pain. Alyssa Jane?
I like how you ended that as if
rhyme refrain.
Good rhyming refrain you had there. Yeah. So I liked that theory. The idea that like the grief she had is what drew Monica in. It actually makes me think. We also talked about why can't she control the kids. I don't know if this is feedback that made it in or not. But like we've had feedback, or someone in the Stranded Panda chat, or somewhere people are talking about. I don't know. It all blurs
it's in the ethos. We've gotten it across the waves.
People have talked about how there's no kids there, and she doesn't seem to be able to control the kids. What if she can't control people that haven't had that sort of trauma that she's had, or haven't seen trauma? And it's like all these adults have like been through pain and loss in their lives, and these sort of innocents, just she can't control them for whatever reason.
I don't think that's it.
Cool.
You're wrong. Moving on.
We had some pretty dark theories about it.
I'm sure Mephisto was involved.
No, actually, it wasn't. It was more like it was like what if she got the cancer from going to space too much with Auntie Carol?
Oh yeah, we talked about that
Or
on this
what if
week's
she
episode.
never showed up again? Like, what if she never saw her again or came back? And it's
Right.
kind of like how Jane was like, "You were just in New York,"
Yeah,
and
Right.
then, but instead of just in New York, like you never came back, and you didn't
like that
see my
one.
mom die and all that stuff. And
I think it is very likely the cancer was a result of some sort of space adventures with Carol. I think it's totally possible. That was my theory. And but it could be that she just like abandoned her mom, or her mom, whatever. Her mom created Sword, so there's lots of reasons. And Monica has been a member of Sword for a while and has been on off-world missions. So like, there's all kinds of reasons she might hate Carol. But I like both of those.
How dare she hate Carol for any reason? Whatever reason she has for it, it's wrong.
That's right.
don't invoke her name.
Don't invoke her name.
Just like people say about us in the movie.
What?
Whenever,
I don't understand.
Whenever we say we don't like Captain Marvel for purely plot and whatever reasons, we don't get this that much, but people online will say we're sexist because we don't like Captain Marvel.
Oh yeah,
That's the
yeah.
joke.
That's why I'm here now.
We brought you in as
Yeah,
our
you're a
Captain
diversity
Marvel,
hire.
Bring it, I'll tell you. Yeah.
diversity hire, Captain Marvel correspondent, whatever.
The movie's not the best. Not the worst, not the
She
best.
said it. We didn't say nothing.
Yeah.
She's like, could have picked better women. Just saying.
At me, bro. No, I didn't.
We could not have picked a better woman. Is that too far? Too far the other direction?
How do we know that Captain Marvel never returned prior to EG? We don't. It was just my
don't?
guess.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was my guess. Like, why would she be mad?
There's like 25 years in between Captain Marvel and Endgame when she came back. So, there's a lot of time for her to go anywhere else.
Yeah. All right, let's get through some more feedbacks and see if we can fit some more in before we shuffle off the podcast.
So Kai says, Matt and Jeff were talking about Mephisto, and if he were to make it into a show, they kind of had a throwaway theory about someone from a recent sitcom showing up as Mephisto, Bob Saget, John Stamos, Neil Patrick Harris, but they forgot one that would be absolutely perfect. Charlie Sheen. With his facial structure and his sarcastic douchebag attitude, he could be a perfect devil. Love the podcast. Always love your theories, Kai.
I just liked that. I thought it was funny.
Demon blood.
He's a warlock, isn't he?
Yeah, he's already there.
He's got tiger blood, all that stuff.
He's always winning.
He's by
Can't
winning.
stop winning.
I don't know if he is. Here's the thing. Marvel is known for taking people who've had their drug problems, their issues in the past, and turning them into like amazing characters on the screen. Like in the like 90s or whatever, when Robert Downey Jr. was going through his problems or whatever, and you had said that like he's going to be the big Marvel character, everyone would have thought you were crazy. Everyone did think they were crazy. They couldn't even get the movie funded at first, but he
they had to get a crazy insurance policy on him.
Yeah, and it ended up being amazing. So who knows? Maybe Mr. Tigerblood is just what the Mephisto cast needs. I do think he could, like, if he could pull it together, if he has pulled it together or whatever, he would be an amazing guy to step out of his problems into Mephisto. It'd be like, oh, because that's the other thing is like Tony Stark. Robert Downey Jr. steps into the role of Tony Stark, and his sort of a vibrato and everything is perfect because it is kind of him. You know what I mean?
Yep.
And like, if Charlie Sheen is this like sort of dark character that we've seen him be lately, like if he stepped into Mephisto, it'd be like, oh, I'm uncomfortable with this.
Is this Charlie Sheen or is this actually Mephisto? I'm not sure.
That would be real weird. I kind of like it. I like the idea, Kai. It's weird. Definitely not happening, but I like it.
Yeah.
While we're at it, let's have Tom Cruise as he portrays Les Grossman from Tropic Thunder. I want him as Mojo.
So it's just his head.
Tom Cruise as Les Grossman from Tropic. Okay.
As Mojo.
I will massacre you.
That movie is pretty amazing.
Yeah.
It's really, really crazy and good.
Ethan Turner says, hello, I'm not sure if this is where I'm supposed to send this in, but here it goes. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and tell everybody, wherever you're sending it in, that's where you're supposed to send it in.
Yeah. I go through lots of places to, if it never makes it on the show, at mcucast@gmail.com is like the easiest. Or mcucast@gmail.com. I just messed it all up, sorry.
What? mcucast@gmail.com.
mcucast@gmail.com. You can send it there. I will say, like, you get the Gmails and it's like 50 emails per page. We had 4 pages of that this week. So
Yep.
a lot of them were a page long. So I got through as much as I possibly could. I tried to whittle down the stuff that like repeated itself too much. Clearly I left in too much Mephisto. I'm sorry for the non-Mephisto stans.
There's not enough
Starting
Mephisto.
to come to the side of the Mephisto.
So I have friends who have started listening to the podcast again, who haven't listened to the podcast in 2 years because we haven't had content. But they're like, content's back, I want to listen. And they were listening and they were like, I stopped listening because I have no idea who Mephisto is. So that's why I'm trying and trying to like let everybody know whenever Mephisto comes up, it's a comics character. Like, it's just people that don't know.
I mean this with the most love in the world.
Right.
Give it a goog.
Give it a goog. Give it a goog. But no, like...
It'll take 5 seconds of your life.
No, it will not.
We have always been the podcast that is about the cinematic side. So I don't want to like constantly dive into comics theories to the point that we leave anyone behind. I'm cool going into comics theories. I just want to make sure we give context when we do.
He's talking to you, Jeff.
I'm talking to you.
I know.
I'm kidding.
I know exactly who the fuck he's talking to right now. I feel it.
I was not. There was no one specific that was aimed at.
No, I know.
It was
I'm
even
just
aimed at me
kidding.
because I do it too. Like I just throw off Mephisto or throw off whoever, and I'm just trying to be like, because our show has always been about people who have seen just the movies and the shows, and we're talking about that. And even the shows, we always have to give a little context. Like we're discussing Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. right now because a lot of people didn't watch that or whatever.
Right. So, continuing Ethan's message here. Hey guys, long time listener. But man, this episode was so damn crazy, I just had to write in. I'll keep it short and sweet. At the end of the episode, when the doorbell rings, Wanda pleads to Vision that she didn't make that happen. I don't think she did. I believe that it's Mephisto hearing the cry from her earlier in the episode about missing Pietro. So he takes the form of the Evan Peters Pietro mashup. This way he can get closer to Wanda and the ever-growing, ever-aging kids. This multiverse stuff is going to open a lot of doors. What other multiverse knowledge is he aware of? Does he even realize he mashed 2 Quicksilvers together? Why the accent? So many questions I can't wait to have answered. Best episode yet. Thanks for all you guys do. I love theorizing with you guys. 3000, Ethan.
Thank you, Ethan. Thank you, man. You know what I'm thinking now? Like, he comes in with kind of the weird accent and he says, I need to rewatch it. I've only seen it the once at this point. Now that I'm thinking about it, it kind of just reminds me of like, you ever see Perfect Strangers, like Cos and Larry? He kind of comes in with like weird accent and like he's not anything like that character at all. But I just like maybe they're going for like the kooky uncle character, right?
He's the quirky uncle that comes in and then everybody leaves a little bit better after they've gotten to see him in his episode. You know, he leaves the family a little bit more well off than when they met them.
He's that 80s trope. 90s trope.
I love talking about, I love how layered this show is. Like we have the show within the show that we can talk about. Like what are they going for with the character of Pietro? And then it's like, but who is he in relation to Wanda in the nature of the real show? Like who brought him here? Mephisto, Wanda, all this stuff. Then we can talk about what does it mean for Fox and Marvel and connecting those universes. And then we can talk about what does that mean for Darcy and Wu outside of the Hex, and what is it is so layered. It's insane.
What if all of these different characters going through all the different multiverses are making it like weaker? Like they're going to bring her through. Because I'm thinking, isn't, not to get too comic-y, but isn't Wanda referred to as like a Nexus character? So like if she goes in through the multiverses, she's always the same person?
No idea.
Yeah,
yes. Okay.
Sort of. Yeah. She, like every time she looks the same across them.
Right. So what if what happens is like they're bringing all these people in and out, and that's what starts to like loosen the veil between worlds, which is something that I'm going to say it, Mephisto can break through. So it's like he doesn't even start to get into it until this point, and that's when Doctor Strange has to come in. It's so much.
Doctor Strange is going to show up, and it's going to be so great.
No, it's just like what if that's it? Like that's all. I didn't even like think about that. Like just weakening it enough. Like what if he doesn't need the twins? What if he just needs the multiverse to keep being thin. Yeah. And that's Dottie's involved with. I think Dottie's his
Actually,
henchman.
there's gonna be a Halloween episode.
That's my favorite thing in the world. Y'all love Christmas.
Yeah. But like that's when the veil between worlds gets thin.
Oh my God, it is the thinnest. And let me say, when Agatha, speaking about witchy stuff, and I don't know if anybody noticed, but she said that her anniversary with Ralph was June 2nd, which is the beginning of the witch trials. It's the first day. Just got to throw it out there.
Let me throw this out there. This was originally supposed to air at a different time of year, and I remember that Falcon Winter Soldier was supposed to come out in August, and we never got a timetable for this show. What if this was supposed to actually? What if the Halloween episode was supposed to actually land near Halloween?
No.
Let's not talk about sad things and what could have been.
Well, I'm just saying, like that helps the theory that you guys are crafting here. I like it. I like the theory.
I like it.
That the world, the veil between worlds, is becoming weak because of all the traversal.
Well, Vision does see everyone, like, on Halloween seems to be the day he's noticing people, like, crying.
Yeah. Yeah. And there was that point where he lands in front of Agnes's car, and she's just, like, catatonic in her car with the witch hat on, her witch costume on, and he touches her temple, and she gets out of it. Like, I think the Halloween episode is supposed to be this week. I think it's the next one. It's either this upcoming one or the one after that, and I'm so looking forward to that.
Muzzy asks if we can have Halloween in February to celebrate Mephisto Vision.
I'll go get some fucking candy.
So, like, next week, let's dress up. Let's dress up.
Get some fucking candy. All right.
I'll put my top hat on. I can do that.
So, just to be the other side of this issue.
There is no other side of this issue. There is our side, and that is it.
just to push back on Ethan's theory here about how she didn't make it happen, and she says that over and over, and he believes her. She's just been lying so much.
Yeah.
Like, she's just been deceiving constantly and constantly lying to Vision, constantly lying to everyone. And then when she goes out of the hex, she clearly knows what's going on. So I don't really necessarily believe that just her saying I didn't make that happen means that she didn't make that happen.
Could be her subconsciously doing it.
Yeah, that's the other idea. Could be the subconscious.
She flat out threatened him.
You mean
when he was like, "You can't control me." No, Vision.
Yeah.
She's like, "You can't control me like you do them." She's like, "Can I?"
Yeah.
I was like, uh-oh.
It's dark, man. It's dark. Aren't I? Should be what she's saying. And is she? Like, we still don't know what Vision's deal is because he's not being fully controlled. That's for sure. Something else is happening. All right, we're going to take a short break. We'll be right back after this ad we have no control over. And we're back.
And we're back.
All right, let's jump right in. What do we got?
Monster Gray says, "Hello, my fellow Marvelians." I hope that's a thing, but super excited to write into a great cast of people doing something that they enjoy, but not to make this long. I heard the Samuel Jackson's Capital One commercial, and he name-dropped Quicksilver. Don't know if this is relevant, but what do you guys think? P.S. Love you guys 3000.
I love this.
Like, I was reading that, like,
so
what?
Much.
What does this even mean?
Monster Gray, I don't know if you're joking or not. I legit don't know, but this is like my favorite meta joke ever. If like the last like 10 years he's been promoting the Quicksilver card for Capital One. If that's been a reference somehow.
Yep. That would be great.
Right?
It gave a wink.
All right. I just love it. I like if the walls, because we know this whole show, like, you know,
It's all connected, Matt.
there's been commercials in all the different phases of the WandaVision
Oh my God.
show.
What if that becomes the next one, like in the 2010s or...
Yeah. Or what if like Quicksilver is running around and like it's all been a long con, like
It's just a big-ass commercial.
big Easter egg has been the literal Quicksilver card in our universe is an Easter egg for the character of Quicksilver in the MCU. I just thought that was hilarious and fun, and I
love it.
I liked it.
Good job.
Pretty great. G.I. Joe says, you all know Mephisto was mentioned in the Tesseract document that Nick Fury handed to Captain America in the first Avenger, right? This is not photoshopped. He's after a few stones, that's for sure. Thanks, Wanda. And it's a thing from the book in Avengers 1. And yeah, sure enough, Mephisto is like, you can barely see the blurry word of Mephisto in the document. I think that's just an Easter egg, but like...
Really?
Yeah.
That's fascinating.
It is fascinating. I can like try to drop it here on the... let me see if I can drop it in the video version. Hold on.
Boop, 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 boop. Instant take.
Okay, I'm dropping it here in the video version so you guys can see. Actually, it's so small. I'll blow it up. Cover us with Mephisto. That looks like Mephisto to me.
I mean, that word is Mephisto.
It says deny certain wishes, Mephisto something, sentient university.
Oh, good catch.
Yeah, so I'm sure that was an Easter egg that people caught way back in the day when that movie was still brand new. But I just thought that was pretty cool. I had never heard that before, so it's kind of neat that he was mentioned way back in the day. That
definitely says Mephisto. I love that.
Yeah, totally. Ooh. So check out the video version on youtube.com/strandedpanda, and you can also see that picture we just posted. Thank you, G.I. Joe.
Knowing is half the battle.
Knowing is half the battle. Thank you. He let us know.
Ryan Wertier says Deadpool is based out of New Jersey, right? I would love for Deadpool to be trapped in the bubble, and when sword agents are watching the show, he's talking to the camera, and they think that for some reason Wanda's powers aren't working on him. And not only does he break the fourth wall and address the sword agents, but he breaks that fourth wall and talks to us. So it's like he's breaking the eighth wall.
I think that's 16 walls.
Yeah, he mentioned that. He was like, fourth wall break and a fourth wall break? That's like 16 walls.
Oh, that's right. He does say that in the movie. I forgot. That would be such a perfect way to introduce Deadpool, like in this meta show, introducing Deadpool, while Quicksilver runs through Samuel L. Jackson's Quicksilver card commercial. Like, how much fun would it be if suddenly the entire MCU is just like engulfed in Wanda's TV world, and suddenly we just get tons of TV references. It turns into like, have you ever seen Too Many Cooks?
Mm-mm.
Oh no?
Nope.
Neither of you guys? Oh,
nope. Guys.
Okay, watch Too Many Cooks if you haven't seen it. It's a super hyper weird YouTube video that starts as like it's like an 80s TV show, and it's the theme song, but then it slowly morphs into just weirdness. I can't even describe it. If you haven't seen it, you just need to. Too Many Cooks. But like, what if it's basically they start just like it in the Too Many Cooks things. I haven't seen it in a long time, but it's like there's a theme song and they keep introducing characters, and the show is called Too Many Cooks, but it just keeps introducing characters. It's like the little theme song keeps introducing more and more characters, and then it just gets humongous. And like, what if this show was the Too Many Cooks of the MCU? And like, it starts bringing in all of the characters. Her hex covers the entire world, and suddenly all these characters start coming into different kinds of TV shows.
I'd love that.
It's an incursion.
Oh, it would be so much fun. And it would almost be like Mojo World, where she's like creating all these little shows, but it would be Wanda creating all this stuff. It's like pop culture merging with her knowledge of the world and the real world she's dealing with, and like throwing them all into different things. I don't know. And Deadpool would fit perfectly in all of that.
Cool.
I honestly, Deadpool would fit perfectly in literally anything they threw him at, because that's Deadpool, you know?
Yeah. Oh, I'm so excited. They just opened the door. They finally opened it, and they're like, take a peek, guys. This is how we're going to do it.
I'm a little bit worried that we're putting too much responsibility on WandaVision as a show, because it's the first content that we've gotten in a year and a half, and we've heard about all of these future properties that are coming up, and we're like, we know it's all connected. We know that there's a lot of connected storytelling. We know that this is connected to Spider-Man 3, connected to Doctor Strange. What if that's all that this is connected to? It's not supposed to build every other thing in the world. Like, what if we're just putting too much responsibility on Wanda and she's breaking down and going crazy because of it? Oh, we're causing this, you guys.
I think at least it'll be able to bring in the Fox people. If that's all that we get from this, like Deadpool or whatever, and Michael Fassbender, if that's all we get from this, I'm cool with it.
Well, that's the question. Is it doing... It's not... I know what you were going for, Jeff, and I like your joke. The meta joke that we are putting pressure on Wanda and it's causing her to break down. I like that. That is very good. But I do think you are correct that we are putting way too much on this show when we try to craft every theory that we're crafting, because that's the fun of this show and we're having a great time.
Yeah.
I would say no one get too precious with your theories, because most of them aren't true. I do think that it'll probably introduce one or two of these elements that we're discussing. It might introduce some version of the Fantastic Four or some Fantastic Four element, but it might introduce the mutants, and it might introduce Mephisto, but it's probably not going to do them all. It's probably going to be one of those things.
Right. What in our...
I wonder who that aerospace engineer is.
Exactly what I was going for next is, we were thinking oh God, that's Fantastic Four, but Fantastic Four is supposed to be years away. Why would they introduce them this soon? But what if we already have somebody that is in universe in a movie that's coming out this year that is a very gifted engineer and extremely gifted technologist. We have Phastos, who is in the Eternals movie. Eternals, crazy name for... Sorry, he's going to be in Eternals, and he that's what he is. He was confused in the ancient Greek society for the god Hephaestus, who is the Greek god of the forge. He's a craftsman and a very gifted engineer. It would be very easy for them to bring him in, and he's if I recall correctly, he's supposed to be gay in the universe, so he could be Monica's gay friend. And would be the guy who builds everything. Oh,
that would be perfect if they get to if it get to a 90s rom-com area of the WandaVision, the gay friend, the gay friend trope.
Right. The gay friend trope would be in full force there. Yeah. And he's perfect for it.
But no, it absolutely could just be Phastos. I think that's totally right. We do have some feedback on the Fantastic Four stuff.
Oh, okay. No. I was do we have Phastos feedback?
I don't think we have Phastos feedback. We discussed the Phastos theory this weekend. I just think that whoever this engineer is, I think it's going to mean something to us as an audience because of the way they introduced the idea. She's I know an aerospace engineer, and then flips out her phone. I was that's going to mean something to us. They're planting some sort of seed there. It's Chekhov's aerospace engineer. All right, let's hit this next one.
Vladimir Bufinit says, this show's supporting cast is important. They're all from movies dealing with technology, aliens, and Infinity Stones, respectively. There's no reason to believe this is demonic in nature. This is the Skrull invasion. They know about the Infinity Stones and decades of research. I think they're using Vision's body and his knowledge of America, thanks to Tony, to harness and study the power of Wanda in an attempt to synthesize or steal her power. It is Wanda, but I think the more she uses her power, the more cracks will appear in the reality. Also, long time, first time.
Thanks, Vladimir. I see, and I like this. I just like the diversity of theories. We're getting a lot of Mephisto this week. Not that we won't, Mephisto's great, and there's lots of elements to it. But I like this, that this could just be the Skrulls, especially Sword. The fact that Sword could be Skrulls, that's they're infested with Skrulls. We've talking about Hayward being the big bad. Maybe he's not the big bad. Maybe he's just the element that was controlling Sword that is actually a Skrull. And maybe good, maybe bad. I don't know. This could be the beginning of a Skrull invasion, which we know is coming.
Hayward is a Skrull.
Mm-hmm.
Because Ward is Hydra?
Yeah, because Ward is Hydra. Wheelman64 says, hey guys, There's something in my first watch of episode 5 of WandaVision that I am surprised I have not heard from anyone else. Look at the shade of blue on Monica's sword t-shirt and the placement of the logo. Look familiar? In the 4th episode, they said they lost astronauts in the blip. I'm sure you are catching what I am throwing. But if not, I taped it on my TV. And he sent a picture of Monica in a very bright blue shirt that looks very Fantastic Four-y. And he taped, it's really, really funny. He taped a 4 to her chest on his TV. It's like an actual, like, the 4 logos taped
like
on
a hand-drawn 4.
Hilarious.
It's really good.
So I like that. I don't think that points to Monica as being a member of the Fantastic Four.
Just I think his point is,
but definitely the sword
Easter egg.
The sword uniform is there for the Fantastic Four.
he goes on to say, "I'm not saying she's on the team. Just the fan for our sword. Like they are from the sword.
Oh, yeah.
Like they probably are wearing those blue outfits when they're out in space.
Yeah, they were mission number 4, right? And they had the 4 logo
Yeah,
on there, and they were the only ones that came back.
I was trying to find that picture. Hold on, let's pull it up because it is very, very funny. So I'm dropping on the video the picture that Wheelman64 sent in of Monica Rambeau with a 4 taped to her chest, and it is pretty uncanny. It looks very much like the Fantastic Four.
It does.
Right?
It also looks like where Tony has his arc reactor.
Yeah, it's right in the center of the chest. But like that blue and that 4, I legit did not know he had taped that until I read it. I thought he'd like...
yeah.
MS Paint.
Yeah.
First of all, don't tape stuff on your TV.
No, do that more.
Do that more.
The MCU cast will not be held responsible for any damages happening to your TV, computer screens, or any other thing that you choose to tape.
That's true. We will not be. But I like this. Do this more.
I like
this should be your thing, Wheelman64. Always send in feedback with something taped to your TV that like reveals
This is
something.
your shtick. This is your gag. When you write in, this is what you have to do.
Not that we should assign your gag, but it's pretty funny. It's very, very funny.
Is this a gag order? Is that what's happening right now?
You wanted to get to some stuff that's in the chat, Jeff?
Everybody's talking about the Luke Skywalker moment in this show, like the cameo that Elizabeth Olsen has been talking about.
Elizabeth Olsen came out and said there's a cameo coming, and this was before Pietro showed up. So it could be Pietro, but she said there's a cameo coming that is so epic that it is like, quick spoiler alert for The Mandalorian. Skip forward if you want.
Ooh.
Luke Skywalker in The Mandalorian. It's as big as Luke Skywalker in The Mandalorian. And she also said something about an actor she's always wanted to work with. Like
Paul Bettany said that.
Paul Bettany said that. Okay. So they talked about like being a dream to work with this actor. So like who is on that level? And to me, it's Ian McKellen all day.
Oh, Ian McKellen. Ooh, Ian McKellen as Magneto showing up.
Yeah.
And like, my child. And oh my God, that would be
And we have
so
an older
awesome.
Evan Peters, but it is like the time is hard to make it line up.
Muzzy says that the quote might have been blown out of proportion, that the viewer asked her if there was a Luke Skywalker level reveal.
Oh.
So that's us putting all our chips on knowing that she knew what they were talking about. She was like, oh, of course, yeah, you know.
Oh yeah, don't you know?
Still the idea that there's an actor that Paul Bettany said he always wanted to work with. Like
That's so exciting.
that's a big thing.
Evan Peters is so good. Like, I don't know if you've seen American Horror Story or any of the other things he's been in. Like, his range is crazy.
Oh, I didn't realize that was him. But now that you say it, I totally see it.
Oh, he's in pretty much every season.
Okay. Yeah, I know they like recycle the cast, but always in different roles.
But what if that cameo that we're talking about, that big reveal, is John Krasinski as Reed Richards? Like, that would be so good.
I agree.
I will flip my living room table. Like, I will freak out.
I would love to see us all flip tables when all this stuff happens.
If I could video it.
Well, we've been doing the live watches on Scener. I guess we could set up our videos and like
There is video in Scener. Yeah.
Well, or we could just do Skype like we always do and have a scene set up, and I could be recording even if we're not streaming it. You know what I mean?
You guys could see how I like freak out at Ken, and he just looks at me like, I don't know what you're talking about.
You're a nerd.
Even he was equally excited about Peter's. He was like, oh shit. I know what this means. I was like, I'm so proud of you.
I was too. Alyssa knew who Evan Peters. She was like, that's the other Quicksilver. I was like, yours.
Yay.
Aww. She's like, you've trained me well.
My favorite thing has been talking to people who've been watching the show who don't know much about the MCUs. Like my boss came in with this whole amazing theory about, and then he's like, and I think that guy who showed up at the end, she said he was your quest, blah, 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 blah. And I was like, oh, that's so cute that you made up this whole theory with your family, but you're wrong. He's from the X-Men movies. He's like, what are those? I was like,
what are those?
I mean, I get it, but
In the chat, Old Sauce says Bettany has not worked with Fassbender or Patrick Stewart. So that's kind of interesting. Both of those could be cameos that could work for this.
Oh, shit.
please be Michael Fassbender, Feige. I'll give you everything. I'll give you my firstborn if I were to have one. I'll do whatever you want.
She's like, I'll give you my firstborn. Never having kids. Give you my firstborn. What are you doing, Jeff? You're freaking out over there, and I don't know why. The people don't know why. You're just grabbing your own eyeballs over there. Come on.
He's yawning, and he doesn't want us to know.
They're just ripping the eyeballs out. Okay, so she hasn't worked with Sir Patrick Stewart, right?
Yeah.
So what if she has crafted a town of mutants?
Sure.
And Sir Patrick Stewart as Xavier is coming here to take them to a place that's safe for them.
Yeah.
Oh, I love that.
Absolutely.
Magneto would be on board with that too.
He would.
Right.
Oh!
And on top of that,
together.
we've got Madripoor coming in Falcon and the Winter Soldier. The only thing is that was supposed to happen before. So what if
And Gambit. We had Gambit confirmed.
what if Madripoor? So Madripoor is from comics. It's a mutant-filled city, and it is apparently appearing in Falcon Winter Soldier. But the problem was Falcon Winter Soldier was supposed to happen before this. So if she creates mutants, they're probably not in Falcon Winter Soldier. You know, like what? I'm trying.
Yeah, we figured they probably weren't. We were saying that Madripoor was just, it's a town of mostly mercenaries, but it's mostly featured in X-Men comics.
Right.
And that, that kind of leans into like, oh, well then if that's so heavily featured in X-Men comics, like what else could they do with it? And then we saw that stick lighting or the metal rod lighting the fire and the trench coat and everything. We were like, obviously Gambit confirmed.
We were very wrong. It was just Zemo in a trench coat.
Muzzy and Vermilion, do you really believe that? Like, do you believe that they wouldn't trick us? Do you trust Marvel that much? They haven't tricked us in the past?
They did an entire other shot. They did an entire other shot in Infinity War that was not in... Hulk wasn't in the movie other than the first scene.
You can't trust them. They paid Patrick Stewart an extra hundo to go out there and be like, I am never going to be in those MCU movies, not as long as I live, I tell you. Please.
Yeah, they did that on Cameo. Like, they gave him money on Cameo to say that.
He's for $250 on there. I digress.
Love it. I love that you know that. All right. Well, so we have not made it through all the feedback. We're not even close, but I think we're about on time. We're about at our time here. Let's see if we got anything we can hit real fast that we want to hit.
Jay Scotty says Patrick Stewart voiced the poop emoji. He'll be back. Is that true?
Very good. We have Anthony Fox. Actually, this I think was in the Stranded Panda chat. He said, long-time listener, first time writing in. Upon rewatching episode 5 today, it really hit me how midway through the ep, when one of the twins asks Wanda if she has a brother, she says she does, but he's really far away, and that makes her sad. It makes me wonder if whoever is really causing the whole thing saw this and then created or found or became Pietro to either keep her happy or take advantage of the situation. Like Pietro is like keeping her calm while whoever does whatever they want to do, keeps her calm long enough to do what they need to do.
Placating her.
Yeah.
Keeping her.
Maybe that's Agnes. I think, what if Agnes is sent there to keep her calm and relaxed? She's always showing up with exactly what they need. Always at the right
Vision
time.
said specifically that. Oh, here she comes with exactly the item we require.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
And she's in trouble with the big boss, Mephisto. So he has to send in backup.
Yeah. Lars Christopher Nielsen says, why did Agnes kill the dog? She totally killed the dog. Wasn't Pietro mentioned right before that? Maybe implying a sacrifice to bring him to the universe. I wouldn't have noticed he was from X-Men. Thanks for that.
A sacrifice.
Yeah.
Oh, that seems real good.
Right? I like that a lot.
I mean, it's super dark, but like that fits, that tracks, you know?
Mm-hmm.
It fits our theory that this is the Spider-Man, that this is actually one more day.
Yeah. Yeah, this fits one more day.
This is another comic storyline that involves Mephisto.
Yep.
And Spidey.
Joe says, hang on. Had it been established that the twins' parents that we know were their biological parents, could they have been fathered by Magneto and adopted by their family in Sokovia?
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, yeah, 100%.
That's easily a possibility with continuing what we've already seen.
Yeah.
Does anybody else find it weird that Agnes is the only one in the show that has azalea bushes when everybody else has rose bushes?
Right? Ooh, witchcraft.
Okay, let's. That's all the feedback we're going to be able to get to this week. So thank you guys for all writing in. I will endeavor to read more of it this week. This guys, seriously, so much, and I'm so happy you're sending it in. If you want to be part of the conversation, but you are frustrated about not getting it onto the show, please join the Stranded Panda chat on Facebook. It's facebook.com. Actually, it's just in the show notes. I don't know. It's like groups. It's like facebook.com.
Yeah, it's facebook.com/groups/SP chat.
SP chat, yeah. So /groups/SP chat. Or just click on the link in the show notes. It really is a super fun place. We really work hard to keep it moderated. We're constantly having little moderator meetings. Like, is this guy being a troll? Do we need to kick him out?
Yes, don't worry. We're watching. It's a safe space.
When people are being abusive of other pandas or whatever, we really try to clamp that down, and we try to keep it like just a friendly space for people to theorize and chat and hang out. I love all of the pandas. There is not a panda I do not love, which, by the way, let's bring in Ashley to the video here while she scratches her eye. Sorry.
I'm either yawning.
You're always doing something funny when we click over. I got to give you more warning. There's got to be a way I can warn you without just saying it on the show. But Ashley here is one of the pandas that we love. All the pandas are super kind, and it's just been a really great environment for this kind of hanging out and theorizing and just having a good time.
Yeah. We're a lot more responsive there because we're there pretty much 24/7, whereas we're only here for a couple of hours at a time.
Well, and we're not the only ones who can respond. That's what I'm getting at.
Yeah.
And I swear, all of us as a group, we run down every single theory as far as we can, and we love all of them.
If you join us live on Twitch, we'll be able to read your stuff in real time.
Yeah. So there's a few other places you can get in. The Twitch and the Stranded Panda chat. It may not make it to the show, but it will. There are people there to hang out and discuss with, and it's just a lot of fun. And not to mention, you get to comment on other people's stuff because there's all kinds of crazy theories bouncing around on the Stranded Panda chat.
BVK says it's one big massive whiteboard.
There's so much spaghetti on the ceiling.
We have a virtual whiteboard that I set up.
Yes. I wish we could do something with that where I guess we can, where like other people could contribute things and we could like mark who contributed.
It is.
Is it that way?
It is that way.
That's real fun. Massive whiteboard. Everybody.
Massive.
There are so many like post-it notes that are like vision necrophilia or like robot necrophilia.
Yes.
Is it necrophilia? And like,
please leave that at the office.
There's so many branches to it. It's crazy.
Oh, that's super fun.
Accidentally leave that at work.
So we're building the whiteboard with all the red strings. So just come hang out in the Stranded Panda chat, and we linked all that kind of stuff. It's just a fun time, guys.
It really is.
But what we're doing right now is the Twitch show. So who is in the Twitch chat and what do they have to say, Ms. Ashley, producer Ashley?
Okay. Muzzy Nat says, who do we think is going to be the first person to call Wanda Scarlet Witch? Sorry. I think it's going to be Woo. I'm going to throw it in.
I was going to say either Jimmy Woo or Hayward.
What about Darcy?
Maybe Darcy. She likes to nickname things.
She does.
She's
calling it the Hex.
Oh, you used it.
You called it the Hex.
That's a good point. Okay, I'm changing mine to either Darcy or Hayward. And the reason I say Hayward is Hayward was the one that was like fishing about her name. She was like, does she have a code? Or who was asking, does she have a code name?
It was Hayward.
Yeah. That was weird.
I think it was him trying to like brand her as an enemy. Like, I think that's what he's trying to do.
Because he was like, you're going to say witch?
Yeah.
I'm not turning this into a witch hunt.
They've already got her like calling her thing that she's doing the Hex. She's got these witchy powers. He's fast, she's weird. Like there's all these things. I think he could absolutely call her the Scarlet Witch and like brand her as the terrorist Scarlet Witch. And then that like enters her as this villain, you know?
JJ is going to do that.
Ooh, JJJ. Oh,
yep.
Oh,
what if Hayward is from a different universe where they have Scarlet Witch and have already named her that, and he's trying to lead to that?
What if the big cameo is JJJ?
That's the cameo! Yes!
I would,
He already had his moment.
I would be down. He is a wonderful actor. I don't know if Paul Bettany's ever worked with him. He's already in the universe. It could be that's the next person or one of the people that she ends up colliding into our universe from the Fox verse or from the Sony verse. So she brings him over because that's like we've talked about. Spider-Man happens 6 months from now, Spider-Man 2. So that could all happen right now, and he could be one of the big things that comes in and like describes what Scarlet Witch has done, like what the world knows about what happened in Westview. Comes from the mouth of J. Jonah Jameson at the end, and the terrorist Scarlet Witch.
Ooh,
I love it.
I love a label.
Yeah.
I love a label.
You gotta love a label.
That's funny.
What else you got in the chat?
All right. Vermilion1 says, okay, I could do this. X-Men used radiation as their way to create mutants, but that was in a world where mutants already existed. I hope so hard that it's not radiation that makes mutants. I would rather it be incursions or that they'd been here all along somehow. And on top of that, they said, will the other people in the town become children? Does the shot they show in the trailer show any adults with their children apart from Vision?
There is one adult lady she's the one hanging the ghost and is like a tear is rolling down her face. There is one adult lady on Halloween.
Wait, don't we see children on Halloween?
Yeah, several of them.
Actually, that was some of the feedback we never got to.
Fixed it.
They keep talking about how there's no children, but in the Halloween episode, there's clearly children. And someone wrote in saying, yeah, but we know Marvel lies to us. So they're theorizing that like all the children on the Halloween episode are like CGI ads. Or like
God.
They faked all of that just to
I love
just
it.
to trick us with a trailer.
Although,
I love it.
You know, we see Vision walking around in his Vision costume, which is super meta and hilarious.
Yeah,
but we see him walking around and looking uncertain about everything. Like he looks like he doesn't know anybody and is unsure of them all. And like I've been thinking that it's, you know, he's unsure if anybody's going to see through his little ruse, his little costume. But what if it's that he's never seen any of these children before this day, and walking around and seeing all these children is putting him on edge, you know, ill at ease, so to speak.
What about this? For the children, right?
For the children.
For the children.
Well, it doesn't have to be. It doesn't have to be those two. Like, what if her creating more children is part of the plan? Like all these other children that she starts populating, and how fast she was able to birth 2 children. Like, what if she's producing children all over town and other women or whatever? Like, she's like producing lots of children. I don't know. Just throwing it out there.
Stop.
Oh, I had another crazy theory. This is really sad. I didn't have this on the podcast. I think this was in the Stranded Panda chat. I'm going to say it. You guys tell me if I already said this on the podcast. Man, there's been too much theorizing and too many email readings. I don't know what's going on anymore. I don't know what I've said.
What's real life?
What is real life? But so West Coast Avengers set off a bomb in a school, right? Isn't that what happens? Or like someone explodes a school because they screw up, and that's what starts Civil War. Isn't that the thing?
That wasn't West Coast Avengers. That was a TV show that they were doing.
A TV show, you say? Anyway,
yeah,
but it was a school that exploded that caused that, right? Isn't that what happened?
It was New Warriors. Thank you, Muzzy. New Warriors was the thing, and it was Nova was his name, or like Supernova. Anyway, this guy that just creates explosions is the bad guy for that. And it wasn't that he blew up a school. It's that he blew up in a town, and a school was caught in the crossfire.
Right.
And there were a lot of children. That was in Connecticut, if I recall correctly.
So this is really dark, really, really dark. But what if S.W.O.R.D. creates some sort of vision bots? Something goes wrong with their tech. They destroyed a school of children.
Don't do it.
And then Wanda...
Keep going.
And then Wanda is so freaked out, or like, you know... the exact trauma that happened to her as a kid, almost killing her as a kid, and so the reason there's no children is they were all killed, and Wanda has come here because of the grief and the horrible situation in the town, and she's creating children for the entire town, not just her. Like all these children are being like brought back that she's trying to like recreate. It's like a totally out there theory, but like it also kind of ties in with her being the impetus for Civil War in this universe versus a destruction of a school in the comics. I don't know. It just kind of all tied together in an interesting way for me.
Nitro, 612 people is how many he killed.
Right. Anyway, that's my random theory. It has nothing to do with the comics. I mean, it does. It ties in a little bit, but it's just completely different, completely out there. But I kind of like it. The idea, where are all the children? Like, where are all the children? And her trying to process grief, and she finds a town that's grieving, especially a town that's grieving because Vision's body was used in a way that like caused this. And then she goes to like try to rectify it using all of her power to try to rectify what S.W.O.R.D. did to this town.
I can get behind dead kids.
That's the pull quote for this week. That's the TikTok.
There's a shot that might track with that. In the trailer, there seems to be a part where the hex is failing and glitching on the walls, and you just see like frames of the walls. Like it's all just
picture frames.
Shell.
Picture frames are coming in and out.
Not picture frames, not picture frames. Like the drywall and the siding on the outside and the brick and all of that is gone. It's just shell. Like it's just a house shell. Oh, right. It's not even a full house. Like the walls are just the frame.
Right. Okay.
And you can see straight through the wall to the outside, and then it fixes itself. And it seems like the hex is failing in that one area and glitching so that you can see through the wall. And you see that the wall itself is not actually, like, it's almost like the house is not a real house. It's been destroyed.
Yeah, absolutely. It could be that like this whole town or a big chunk of this town was destroyed. And she's like, this hex, man, like what a mind trip it would be if we've been like on the outside as S.W.O.R.D. looking in, trying to stop her from this thing she's doing. And then at the end, we find out the thing she's doing is trying to fix the problem that's what S.W.O.R.D. did, and with Vision's body in this little town. I know you guys don't like it because it's not Mephisto, but I think it's a fun little theory.
Well, like there's other little things that are in there. You know, you mentioned the New Warriors, and that took me to Nitro. Nitro is actually the guy that killed Captain Marvel, like the original Captain Marvel, Marvel, the Kree guy, and like he exposed him to a nerve gas that ultimately gave him cancer.
So we were talking about that with like Maria possibly dying of cancer.
That might.
Yeah. I mean, there's definitely little elements that could work in it. Anyway, that's my theory. We can move on.
No, I like it.
I like it.
Thank you. Put it on the board.
Put it on the board, man.
Yeah, put it. Man, there's a small spot right there.
There's a little white spot left. We'll put it on the board later.
Yeah.
If you zoom out enough, you can get some more white space.
Yeah, just flip it over. They got those spinning ones.
Yeah, it's infinite white space. Like that's the beauty of the virtual board.
I want to zoom really, really far out and put something way over in the corner.
Zombie for Prez says, will we see Mary Kate and Ashley in the Full House decade?
I hope so.
I thought this was the Full House decade. They did the intro. No, this was Family Ties.
They did do part of the Full House. The little thing where they zoomed down and had them running at the camera. That was from Full House. So yes, and I got a Full House vibe from Quicksilver as well, from Pietro.
Yeah, he's the Uncle Joey.
He does feel
Uncle
like the
Jesse,
Uncle Joey.
Pietro.
Oh yeah, Jesse. Kind of a mixture, weirdly, because he has like a weird floral shirt, but he's also wearing like a jacket. I think.
Yeah, he's got the leather jacket.
He's got the Uncle Jesse.
And that Uncle Jesse hair.
An Uncle Josie, if you will.
Uncle Josie.
Yes.
Uncle Josie and the Pussycats.
I'll take a Goulier Stamos combination. That'd be fun. Can we somehow put that in whatever they do to make people look young again and turn that into a character?
Can we de-age that?
Oh, yes, please.
All right, we're getting loopy.
Jay Scotty says, have mercy.
Ashley trying to drink the whole MCU. Oh, man.
All right.
That's funny.
What do we got next? Anything else in the chat that you had pulled up?
I have two more. I'm so sorry about whoever did this one. I accidentally deleted your name, but you'll know who you are. Please let me know in the chat. They said, did Shuri finish downloading Vision's consciousness? To me, it totally looked like she rushed to finish, then snatched the data off her screen to store away. I think that's the real Viz, Jarvis Ultron. And the Viz we see now is just Wanda reality warping his corpse and not being able to control the ghost of his personality. Too complicated, maybe?
Oh,
but I like that.
I like this a lot. Let us know who said that. It was me, Zombie for Prez. Zombie for Prez. That's a really good one. I like that a lot because here's the thing. It could be this like meditation on the idea of grief and who we think someone is versus who they actually are. You know what I mean?
Oh, man. Yeah.
Yes.
Who we remember them to be and who they actually were.
Yeah. So like you could have this Vision inside this little Wanda world and like she's puppeting him around and he's just this thing. And then you get the actual data from Shuri. Like Shuri ships over the data and she comes in and like whatever ships. What am I talking about? We have the internet. The data comes in and it's like actually Vision, what's left of him, maybe even the white version because he's like lost the Mind Stone or whatever and he's not as emotional or something, but it's the actual data that is Vision and like it has to tell Wanda like, no, I would never want this, like that interaction we've been talking about could come from like the actual outside world, like the Shuri version that downloaded Vision's consciousness. That sounds fun. That sounds a lot of fun.
I like it a lot.
And by fun, I mean tragic and horrible.
Yeah, tragic and awful. They touched on that sort of reframing who you think someone is.
Yeah.
After they've been dead in Umbrella Academy. Like there was, everybody was talking about
good
Dr.
point.
Hargreaves and how much he had done for them, and then Diego's like, he was a monster.
Yeah.
Like,
Everyone
why
has
are you all saying nice things?
Different views of the people that you remember. Yeah. I'm not going to connect this to my father's passing that I just experienced because I've been doing that too much on the podcast, and it's getting sad.
No, Matt, that's why we're here. We're your community.
No, I really do appreciate that. That's very sweet. But I really like the phrase, that's why we're here.
Yeah, that's why we're here. We're here to work through your trauma.
We're here to
We've been setting this up for 6 years in anticipation.
Thank you for that. But no, yeah, like it's definitely something I'm experiencing right now with like the different family members that are like remembering my dad differently.
Well, let's bring it back to that Shuri version of Vision with Ulsa saying season 2 is Wakanda Vision. I solved it again.
Wakanda Vision. That's wonderful.
Ooh.
I like it a lot. And the hex is now over Wakanda, and
the hex is now purple.
Yeah. Ooh, yeah.
Vibranium purple.
Ooh, change it up. Our Breeze had one. I think the hexagon-shaped Westview has a double meaning, maybe a triple meaning. One of the hexagons is one of, if not the strongest, most stable shapes in nature, hence why bees construct their hive that way. Maybe it's also references why Wanda is the strongest Avenger.
Oh, I like that. That's
Could
cool.
be.
And maybe Shuri is texting, or maybe Rambo was texting Shuri.
Wow.
That's a really good, really great point.
He was like, "Hey Shuri, I need you to get down here."
Maybe Monica was texting Shuri. Is she in aerospace? I guess she does design the ships, right? Or does she? She designs the suits. I don't know what all she designs.
She does a lot of tech work,
Yeah.
just in general, but I don't know that she's necessarily an aerospace engineer.
But she might be.
She could be considered an aerospace. It's a TV engineer.
It's TV, comic book, smart person, so they just can do everything.
Has 7 PhDs. Use one of your PhDs.
Yeah. Who paid for Darcy to go to school? That's all I want to know. It's a lot of schooling.
Yeah. All right, guys. Well, this is all for the podcast. We love you very much. Thank you for hanging out with us today. We'll be back on Friday. We do our Friday morning instant watches at 8 a.m. Central Time. I'm so sad that you can't be here for those, Ashley. It would be great to have you.
It's not that it doesn't add to the excitement of getting to rush home and watch it, but being at work, watching my phone go off all morning while like you guys are getting set up, I'm like, oh no, like I'm like, yay, there they go. I'm like, oh no, and then it's like message, and then it's like the board, and then I can't check Google, I can't look at anything, so I have no internet to help my day go faster. It makes it more exciting to get home to watch it.
That's rad.
So I wouldn't, as much as I'd want to be there, like it sucks I can't, but at least I get to like have one toe in it still. I'm like,
Yeah, no, and Matthew's been doing great. I just, I'm sad that you're busy because it would be fun to have you on. And we'll be there every Friday morning doing a live watch, and it's similar to this, but it's right after. We do the live watch at 8 a.m. where we use Scener, where we watch it and we can chat with text chat, and then we jump on Twitch and do a live podcast. So it's been a lot of fun. You guys should definitely join us for that. And yeah, like we said at the top, it's been 2 hours, so you probably forgot. Go give us a 5-star review on iTunes or Apple. If you have an Apple device, you can do it. Even if you just have an iPad sitting in the back room, you can log on and give us a 5-star review. It severely helps us. And we are number 4 in after shows right now. We just got to edge out 3 more people.
I know.
3 more people, and we can be number 1. We can be number 1, guys. Woo! All right.
Woo! You're number 1 to me.
Thank you, Ashley. You're number 1 to us.
Oh, thanks, guys.
Peace.
Until next time, true believers.
Bye.
Thank you for joining us for the Marvel Cinematic Universe podcast, available everywhere you get podcasts, and now a video version streaming live on twitch.tv/strandedpandatv and available at youtube.com/strandedpanda. And if you'd like to learn more about all of our other podcasts, geeky projects, and ways to support the network, visit strandedpanda.com.